This program is designed to showcase Faribault Wrestling and their fine student athletes. So it's time to get off your couch, strap on the headgear, and get ready. It's time for Takedown TV.
I'd like to welcome you back to another year of Takedown TV with Faribault Wrestling. And we thought we'd kick the year off with Brandon Peters. Brandon's a returning state entrant for the Falcons from last year, 112-pound section champion. Currently ranked 7th in the state at 119 pounds. And we have Brandon here because of his performance at last week's Faribault Invitational, the Dick Shields Invite, where Brandon had a great tournament and was crowned the tournament champion. I think we'll just let Brandon talk a little bit about his 3 matches.
It was kind of hard to knock the rust off in the first match. Took a while before I finally got acclimated again to the mat and what I was doing, but eventually I got the fall there. In my semifinals match, I got a tough takedown and got in control of the match, and then coasted to win that match. In the finals, I worked the guy hard on the bar and got a few back points, which helped me win by a major decision in the finals.
Brandon's finals match was one where he really took control and dominated the match. He had the kid pretty worried, and when Brandon chose top and ground on the guy, he really took all the fight out of him. He had a pretty tough arm bar, everybody knows that, and even though they know it, they have a hard time avoiding it, and he really worked it hard and turned him over a couple times for some back points, and that's what made the big difference in getting the major. And that's kind of Brandon's style. When he can get on top and grind, he's pretty tough. So we got to keep working on improving that and making that his signature. We had 2 champs at the Dick Shields Invitational this year, and our other champ was Matt Becker, wrestling 189 pounds, and he 171 pounds, and he has really come on strong this year. He's starting off basically where he left off last season, and that's in really great shape. He's probably best on his feet, and he showed that in all of his matches, taking guys down pretty much at will, and working on trying to keep him down a little bit and riding a little better. If we can keep his nose from bleeding too much, he's going to be a tough guy to beat all year long.
I just felt good, like a lot of work in the off season. Felt like I was in good shape, and I just tried to work on getting takedowns and tried not to get too fancy. I know I was a little too much right away, but once I calmed down, things kind of picked up a little. So I guess I just felt good, like a lot of work in the off season. Felt like I was in good shape, and I just tried to work on getting takedowns and tried not to get too fancy. I know I was a little too much right away, but once I calmed down, things kind of picked up a little. So.
You know, just to recap a little bit about Matt's performance, you know, we knew going in that he was going to be an individual that was going to be real strong on his feet, and you know, one of our things was constantly talking to these guys about being aggressive, taking the match to their opponent, and you know, and Matt's done that. And I think throughout the tournament and just his 3 matches, he really started to understand that yeah, you can be aggressive, but it's also about controlled aggression. So, you know, Matt really in his final match really slowed the pace. I don't want to say slowed the pace down to where it was a boring match, because it was anything but that. It was really exciting, but it was much more controlled in how he attacked his opponent, and he was much more efficient with his scoring opportunities.
71 pounds from Faribault, Matt Becker.
Great to see Matt get that tournament championship. You know, and we're expecting a lot of great things. I know Matt's expecting a lot of great things out of himself. So, you know, and I'd also just like to add both Brandon and Matt are A honor roll type students. So, you know, we preach academics quite a bit in this program, and to have our 2 champions also be A honor roll students is a great thing. So all of those little guys out there that are wrestling, you know, take care of your academics as well as work hard, and you know what, good things are going to happen to you. So. Well, Dave, we'll change gears a little bit from our youth, and then we're going to step right into the high school season. So far, what do you think?
Well, we have some boys coming back that are pretty experienced. and it's kind of fun watching them step in and not have to start over from scratch. That's a nice position to be in. Unfortunately, not all of them are ready to be wrestling yet, but when we get our full squad together this year, I think we're going to be pretty tough.
And I would agree. It is difficult when we don't have everybody in the lineup due to whatever the circumstances may be. If it's academics or because we as I said earlier, we preach academics, and they have to be where we expect them to be in order to compete on that mat, or just in general, they have to be doing the right things in order to be out there. So that's a big thing for us, and our kids understand and know that. And when they make a mistake, unfortunately, not only did they suffer the consequences, but the whole team.
And there comes back that team aspect again, and kids learn one way or another that when you're part of the team, you're part of something that's bigger than yourself, and you got to think about more than just your own actions and how it's going to affect other people around you. And I think that team aspect is really starting to show up even in the practice room. They're helping each other out, picking each other up when somebody's looking like they're about to break. Another kid will come over and say, "You can do it, you can do it." And those kinds of moments are where a team really gels. And you can go a long ways with that kind of attitude in a team, regardless of your athletic ability.
You got it. You bet. I mean, steel sharpens steel, right?
That's right.
And we're seeing that up in the room. And you're right. We do have a number of veterans up in this room. We have a great senior class. Starting with our leader Kevin Palacios, our senior captain. But you got guys like Matt Purfist and Dalton Kamelik and Alex Zabel, Peter Seitz. These are guys that have been up here. They know what they have to do in order to be successful in this sport, and they're showing it. James Dennis is working his tail off right now, and is chomping at the bit to get back in that lineup. So we have a number of guys that are doing some real good things up here, and they're leading the way for some of these underclassmen. Our juniors, that's a smaller group with guys like Matt Becker again, who's going to be a force on the mat this year.
He is going to be tough to beat. He's in a tough weight class. 171, there's no slouches in there. He's going to have to battle to make it to state. But I think he's got probably the best shot of anybody in our section of making it there. I think he's going to set the tone early in matches. And Matt's big strength is when he's on his feet. And we've got to help him develop some of his weaknesses into strengths in his other areas. I think James Dennis has shown that he's interested in more than just what's quick and dirty this year. I think he's interested in being a complete wrestler, and I think that has shown something to some of the other kids around that it's getting serious now.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
James used to be kind of the clown of the team, and I really haven't seen that as much this year. I've seen a lot more of he's being aggressive and trying to learn and really demonstrating some good things to those teammates.
You look at some other individuals that we can look for. Of course, our sophomore class is perhaps maybe our most skilled group.
There's some seriously good kids, athletes and students in that sophomore class.
Starting right off with Brandon Peters, like I said earlier, he's ranked 7th in the state right now. Already, a returning state entrant. It's been a while since Faribault's had a guy go to state at 9th grade, and we had 2 of them last year, and Marcus Regal as well.
Yep.
And then you look at guys like Cole McAdam and Josh Palmer. Those are 2 guys that have huge hearts and just love the sport, and they're busting their tail every day.
Well, and one thing about all of those guys is they don't seem to mind who they're wrestling. They don't pay any attention to who they're going up against. They go out there and they battle their match, and that's a mental thing that a lot of kids have a hard time overcoming, and all these guys just kind of came by that naturally, where they're up for the match, they're going to go wrestle their style, and they don't worry about what that other guy's going to do. They're going to go and do what they want to do. Yep. And that mental toughness, it makes a huge difference in a sport like this.
And then we look at a freshman class, and I know we're missing a lot of guys throughout this, but we're excited about our freshman class. Guys like Morris and Almacher, some of these littler guys that are out here working. And that's not to say anything about some of our other guys. Like a guy like Phillips. How hard he works as a second-year wrestler is phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's
Nate
exciting.
Phillips is the kind of guy that you can build a team around, even if he's not a starter, because he makes everybody around him better. He is a goer every minute in practice. He listens well, he learns fast, he keeps working hard, and he pushes his teammates. And so guys like that are what make a team better. You can't have a wrestling team with just 14 guys.
That's right.
You have to have the other guys there for them to work with, for them to learn from, and to keep pushing them. Like you said, steel sharpens steel. If you don't have good workout partners, you can't get better in the room.
And of course, how excited are we? You know, Faribault has been a team that hasn't had to worry about upper weights for a long, long time. I mean, we've had the Wilson boys since what, 2002 or something like that.
Right, and you go even between some of the Wilson boys and before the Wilson boys, we've had heavyweights at the state tournament forever.
Forever. Faribault's kind of known for their heavyweights. So we're excited about bringing Mr. Mock in. You know, he's
a big, strong boy. He's very athletic. He just needs to learn some things about the sport of wrestling.
And you know what? And he's going to be great for us. He's going to do a great job. And how about this Messenger boy?
Well, you know, I remember watching him when he was in middle school, and he showed potential down there, a little wild at times. He's come up to the high school and stepped right in as if he hadn't ever missed a year. So he's looking pretty tough. I'm excited to see what he can do on the mat.
He looks like the real deal. I agree. I'm really excited. And you know, and that's to say a lot about this team. It's going to be an exciting year. You know, this team is on the verge of being right back in the thick of things. You know, of course we got to go through Owatonna and Albert Lea, who are ranked 3rd and 6th respectively, but we're right there. You know.
Well, and I think that's what's good for us. It's good that we are in the conference with them and in the section with them, because we're only going to get better by seeing where we want to be. We were there not too long ago, and we'd like to be back there, and these kids are going to push those teams. They're not going to give up. They're not going to give them an easy match. Just like last year when this group that's basically mostly back here, they made Albert Lea and Owatonna work for every point they got last year. I think it's going to be a closer match again this year when we go against them. And we've got to stay tough against every Big 9 opponent. You know, that's not an easy conference in any sport, but in wrestling, we definitely have some of the toughest teams in the state. And so that competition is only going to help us.
Couldn't agree more. Go Falcons.
Go Falcons.
Coach Frank coaches the middle school wrestling program and help out the varsity. We're having a very successful year so far. We had a couple meets already, one in Lakeville South and one down in Owatonna. We got about 17 kids out for wrestling in the middle school. Numbers are down a little bit, but I think you know, as the year goes on, we're actually going to gain a few kids in the room. We told the kids to go grab a friend and try to bring them in the wrestling room. But I think the elementary program's looking great, good numbers down there. So I think in a few years we'll be back up to that number that our goal is. And you know, it would be nice to have 60 kids in a room. 30 we'll take, but right now we're at that 16. But anyways, you know, I tell you what, the kids that we have in there right now are determined. They're hardworking. They want to get better. They listen and practice, which makes it so much better. Coach Babcock and Coach Gare doing awesome jobs. You know, along with myself down there, we're just getting the kids motivated, showing them new moves, and they're learning fast. So we can keep going to the next move each week. Going back to Lakeville, we've seen a lot of good things, things that we need to work on off the bottom, wrestling, moving right away. But just to get up to speed, and from that match to the one last night in Owatonna, they've done a 180. So like what we're seeing, they're aggressive, and you know, just good kids.